Oh, goody.
Alright, what's going on, everybody? Zombies here again, and today we're back with another Mercenaries video. This one is going to be about some farming for the new mercs. We got Onyxia's lair here, and surprisingly, some of the bounties for this actually aren't awful for once in terms of their rewards. I know, I can hardly believe it either. But they seem to, maybe it took 5 months, but they've finally learned to stop throwing garbage launch mercenary coins in these chests. Particularly, the last one here, Undead Onyxia, all three coin rewards are for new mercenaries, Deathwing, Onyxia, and Kazakus. And that's awesome. This is really the way they should have been doing this for a while now. And even just going back to Alterac Valley and looking at the difference, it is very stark in contrast. It's just a huge, huge difference. Like, pretty much every bounty has, like, an old mercenary in it, or at least one old mercenary in it. Sometimes they have two, which is just crazy. However, most of the bounties here are actually pretty decent in terms of what they give. This one is the best one. The boss fight is actually pretty easy, at least on normal. I haven't gotten to the heroics yet. And it gives you 3 coins for 3 of the new guys. However, most of the other ones are pretty good too, especially if you happen to be a player who, didn't fully finish maxing out the new guys last drop or the last 2 drops, as there are some in here for them. Like we can see Nuzao is here, as well as 2 new ones, Vandar and Onyxia. They're all pretty good, except this one is a little bit less good because it doesn't have any of the new guys, but it does have ones from different drops in the past. So this one's probably the worst one of the bunch. This one, pretty decent. Drekthar, Kazakus, both good. And Chiji's also pretty new, so not bad. And then Smolderwing, Deathwing, and Nefarian are good. Eudor is a little bit old, but still could be worse, could be worse. This one is the best, though. This one is by far the best. You're basically guaranteed coins for these new mercs, which is exactly what I want and what I need. And the bounty itself is not that hard. I timed it out on stream, and we're going to go through it here in a minute. But basically, it ended up taking me about 12 or 13 minutes to beat this bounty with the fire comp I was using. So really not too bad. I compared this directly to 1-1 farming, where typically on average you can get a run done in between 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how fast the mercenary you are 1-1 clearing with, or the team. I found 3 minutes usually to be the absolute fastest you can get through it. And 5 is usually kind of on the upper end, especially if you're not paying full attention to it. So this bounty, on average, it takes about, 4 times longer than doing, the fastest heroic 1-1, or a bit over 2 times, like 2.5 times the longest 1-1 run. Now, comparing the results in terms of what we get from it, the worst case scenario here, assuming you need coins for all 3 of these mercs, which I'm sure pretty much everyone does, because this is new content and new mercs. Basically, on Heroic 1-1, the minimum you get from that is about 30 coins, and the maximum you'd get for that same amount of time is like 40-ish. And in doing this bounty, I think the lowest I got in my 12-minute run was, I think it was 50 coins total, and that was actually low rolling on, I think, 2 slots, the random slot, and rolling on one of the party slots for a merc I already had done. So that's kind of like a 50-50 because I have 3 mercs I need and then my 3 farming ones in the front. So you can actually high roll this and probably get, I think the cap would probably be around 70 coins, I think, or maybe even higher if you high roll all 5 slots, but that's much less likely because one is a completely random slot. However, 3 slots are from this bounty, so no matter what you do, I'm pretty sure that 50 coins across all these 3 mercs is the base minimum guarantee. So it is actually efficient to do this, which is great. This is what we've been wanting. And it's just really nice to have a new bounty that doesn't totally suck with the rewards. Obviously, I still think the rewards can be a lot better, but, we'll take what we can get right now at this point. So we're going to get into the bounty here. Before we do that, quickly we'll go over the comp. Nothing new here, nothing revolutionary. So we are using the fire comp here with Ragnaros, Belinda, and Baron Geddon. Worth noting, you can also do some stranger farming while you're doing this. So I do have, we'll see, Deathwing, Drekthar, and Vandar in the back. Also, mine aren't leveled yet, so I'm actually leveling them while doing this, which is nice. Another quality of life feature we got is we can actually specifically equip different equipments depending on the comp. So this is my dedicated PvE comp. I do have the fire damage on Ragnaros. I did notice 1 or 2 times Ragnaros either came close to dying or did die before the final fight. So sometimes it might just be better to do Sulfurous if you're noticing your Rag is dying a lot, as you can just get a passive fire damage buff pretty easily, and you don't really need the damage that much. So depending on how your runs go, might be worth running Sulfurous, but if you're noticing Rag isn't dying very much, then Blazing Rune is probably better. Same kind of thing with Belinda. Most people probably have her Water Elemental leveled up, and that is totally fine and good to use. Probably more effective in some cases than others, but I've been using the Fire Elemental for this one for the additional fire weakness it applies. Again, both of these are valid and good choices, and I don't think there is a huge benefit of one over the other. Just use whichever one you happen to have more leveled up. And then Baron Geddon, Mark of Conflagration, definitely the right equip on him. We want to be doing as much AoE damage as possible, and it's just the best one in slot because Geddon's going to be one of our main damage dealers. The back 3 can be anything you want, preferably something you're looking to farm Mysterious Stranger tasks for, so in my case the new Mercenaries, or just leveling them up like I'm going to be doing here. But that's the comp we're using. You can probably do this with other comps, but this is the one I've had success with, and the boss is actually pretty easy. So as long as your comp can actually get to the boss, I don't think you should have any trouble doing this in a reasonable amount of time. So that is going to be the comp overview. We're going to get into the bounty here. I am going to speed up the regular fights, but we are going to go through them, narrate over it, and then talk about the boss a little bit. But if you're enjoying this type of content, do remember to like and subscribe. Really does a ton to help out the channel and keeps the Mercs videos coming. So without further ado, let's get into this bounty. Alright, so we're going to dive into the bounty here. I did speed this up just to make the video a little bit less long. I only did 3 times speed though. Normally I speed it up a lot more than this. But the bounties in this one are really easy for the most part. One thing to note, you'll see that fairy dragon there. Don't target that with stuff because it will redirect your target randomly, and I fell for that a few times on stream. So if you don't want to miss out on damage and stuff, don't target it. Just let the AoE or die insect clean it up. And you'll probably notice pretty quickly with these fights that they just die pretty much almost in one shot each time. Don't even get any boons or anything. We did get some good treasures this run, but I've done about 5 or so runs of this so far, and I haven't failed it yet. Pretty much every time has been a success so far, and it's been pretty easy. You know, good treasures obviously help and make it a little bit easier, but you definitely don't need them to do this. It is very doable without any good treasures and stuff. And also, like I mentioned before, this is decent for stranger farming. Obviously, it's not going to be as fast as going to Bane Hollow and retiring as soon as you get the node. But if you're going to be leveling up your mercs and going for these coins anyways, it doesn't hurt to pick up a few potential mysterious strangers while you're doing it. Actually got the kind of fireball passive here, so that deals like a ton of damage because obviously we have all fire skills, so that's a pretty good one to aim for. But anything that increases your fire damage and increases your elemental health are probably the ones you end up wanting to go with here. But most of these fights are pretty easy. Sometimes you do have to be a little bit weary of like these triple green or triple blue ones because sometimes they can focus down your one unit, but that's also why it can be helpful to try and line it up with the spirit healer just in case, you know, something does happen to die, unfortunately. In this run, that didn't end up happening, and most of the time it doesn't end up happening, but it can happen, so I do want to make a note of that. But yeah, at least on normal, these fights are pretty trivial, and you can get pretty much most of them done in one shot, which makes it pretty quick. I think this run actually took slightly longer than it does on average, because I wasn't like 110% full focus, but basically my average time is usually in the 12 to 13 minute mark or so. That is including the boss. I think this one may have been an extra minute or so because I got a little distracted working on some other stuff or video stuff. A lot of content stuff coming out with all these fancy new mercs and new drops and all that fun stuff. But if you're going like full force at it, you can pretty much do this consistently in 12 to 13 minutes. And like I mentioned earlier on, the breakdown with the coins, it actually does make it more efficient than 1-1 in terms of pure amount of coins. And that's even if you low roll effectively. That's like the guarantee, which is why we're doing 1-1. So we're at the boss. Let's get into the boss fight. Alright, and we've made it to the boss here. This is actually a really easy boss, at least on normal. I'm going to be tackling the heroic soon, so it is possible the heroic could be good too. But for the sake of simplicity and whatnot, I'm just doing it on normal because the coins on normal felt pretty good. So, and I imagine the heroic ones are probably a bit harder as they have been. So, looking at Onyxia here, +5 spell weakness, deal 125 damage to weaken Undead Onyxia and enter phase 2. Okay. Then she has these taunts where after an enemy uses an ability with elemental damage, this merc attacks it. These really aren't that scary. Honestly, Onyxia herself really isn't that scary. We can mess her up pretty bad pretty quickly. So we're just going to apply some fire weakness, and then Baron Geddon her, and then Ragnaros. Pretty simple stuff, pretty much what we're doing the whole bounty. These punching in actually are not usually a bad thing for us, because it actually weakens them. And we actually got pretty good treasures this run too, which is always nice. But you don't need good treasures to do this. You really can do this with kind of anything, I think. Boom. Gone. Yeah. So we did lose a merc there, but she's pretty much donezo here. We'll send out Deathwing. We should be able to clean this up just fine. Obviously, if you have level 30 mercs on your bench, you'll probably have a little bit of an easier time cleaning up if your stuff dies, but like I said before, it's really not required. Boom. Look, we got the little EXP drop, so we were able to clear it. Very nice. Even without the treasures, it's really not that hard, in my opinion. Like, I haven't lost this yet, and I think I've done like 5 or so runs already. So the fire comp, pretty good at it. But you could probably also do this with other comps pretty easily. So get our rewards here, take a look at what we got. Alright, so just breaking down how this works, these 3 are from the bounty itself. So here we can see we got 20 Deathwing, 20 Kazakus, 15 Onyxia, so 55 useful coins. This slot right here is from your party, so we can see I got Belinda. However, it's basically a 50-50 roll if you have 3 of the new mercs in the back and 3 of your farming party in the front. Pretty much 50-50 flip there, and I believe this one is random any slot, so you can get any mercenary here. Good if you don't have a lot of mercenaries maxed, not so great if you do, but pretty much you're guaranteed like 50 coins at the minimum, I believe. I don't think I've seen a worse roll than like 2 15s in a 20. This one's a little bit better, 55. I've seen higher. Obviously, if this stack rolls one of the ones in the back, it's really good for you, and it is possible to roll all 5 as well. But those are the rewards. This took pretty much, I think it took just over 12 minutes to do this run, and it's a bit more fun and less monotonous than doing the 1-1 grinding. So if you're looking for an alternative to 1-1 grinding and one that you can actually get mysterious strangers during while you're kind of working on it, this is a good way to do it. And I'm really happy they finally gave us a bounty that actually has all 3 useful mercenaries in it. Really would like to see more of this in the future. Hopefully they can, see it. This is a positive change, even though, I would like there to be more positive changes in terms of better rewards, but we'll take what we can get right now. So if you're looking to farm coins for any of these 3 mercs, definitely recommend doing that. This is a good spot to do it. I'll do some testing on heroic and whatnot, get back with that soon. Also, heroic guides will be coming soon as well, but that's pretty much going to do it for this video. Hopefully it was of some use to you. If it was, definitely feel free to drop a like and subscribe. Really helps out the channel. Helps out the algorithm, keeps the merc stuff coming, all that good stuff. But thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.